Hi everyone, and welcome back to Waterhouse Forde. Well, as you can see, we've pretty much finished, in fact we have finished, making all the different parts for the sleeve puller. In this video we'll show you how we did the last few bits, which was basically to make these four pillars, as we're calling them. In particular, getting the length of the body, so basically from there to there, identical, and then turning down the ends so that they will fit inside the top piece like that. So as you can see, I've screwed in these three. What I'll do is put this one on, but we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves here. Let me show you how we made the pillars first. Okay, so what we've got now is we have four pieces made. There's one in the lathe already, and then I've got these three as well. I've prepared the threaded end. Now what I need to do is make sure that the length of the pillar from that shoulder through to the shoulder on the other side, that has to be identical on all four. So basically I need to cut it, but it needs to be repeated on exactly the same on all of them. So what I'm thinking of doing, I have this piece of steel. It's just a 15mm diameter. It has a hole in it already. It's just something, it's been in amongst all of my my bits and pieces for a while. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drill that hole to be 10mm, so it'll go over the threaded bit. I'm going to mount that in the Jacob's chuck in the tailstock, and then if I don't move the tailstock, then I know that every time I put one of these in here and that shoulder rests up against this face here, that the distance from the now fixed tailstock through to where I place the parting tool will be the same every time. Okay, so what we've got now is we've got that shoulder right up against that. That tailstock is going to stay fixed. We're not going to move that at all. And what we're going to do is bring in the parting tool so that we measure this shoulder here. And what we'll do is we'll just part that a little bit more. Then what we'll do, we'll take this out. We'll take it out through the chuck and all the way out the other side. I can't remember what this is called. The spindle. We'll take it all the way out the other side of the spindle. We'll bring the next one in and do exactly the same. And that way, if we do all of them, then what we'll know is that the distance from there to that shoulder will be exact for all of them. And then we can turn the other side down, knowing that that shoulder is always what we're working to. And there we go, 4 equally sized pillars. Now we just need to turn the ends so that they slot into the top plate, and we're ready to go. Okay, so hopefully you saw all that, and that was all interesting. Now, in terms of assembling this, we need to make sure all 4 pillars are firmly in the base, which they all seem to be. The other thing I've done is I've marked one of them, because that's how that one lines up with a corresponding one on the other side, so on this piece. So I know that if I put that in there, now it doesn't just slip on, unfortunately, but I know that that one is the closest, and I just need to manipulate these pillars to get them to go in to the top. There we go, that's lined up now. Now I do have to whack it a little bit. So excuse the noise. And there you can see those are now 100% in. And this thing is firm, it's solid. There's no, that's not going anywhere. It's not wobbly or anything like that. And that's what I was looking for. I wanted this to be as solid as possible, which is why I made those a tight fit. Of course, I would have liked it if it would have maybe just slipped together a little bit easier, but anyway, I'd rather it's too tight than too loose. Now, the other thing I've done, as you'll see for the plug, is I've had to remove a flat edge on either side. And that's because, basically where the bearing journal sits, it basically sticks over a little bit over where the cylinder sleeve actually comes. So, unfortunately, we had to take those 2 sides off, but that's not a bad thing, because what it means is this won't turn, so it'll now be fixed in the block, and it'll be held against the bearing journal, and it won't actually turn, which is a good thing. Nevertheless, we will obviously put a lock nut on. Now, I do have a much longer threaded bar, but for demonstration purposes I'm going to use the short one. Obviously we'll use the long one when we do when we start pulling the sleeves. But again, because the long one won't really fit in the video very well, I'm demonstrating with the shorter one. So the first thing we want to do is get our lock nut on. Then we're going to just position this in the frame like that, and we put our top nut on. I'm not sure you can see this in the frame, but you'll see it in a minute when it comes down. Okay, so that's now on, and then we turn it over and we can put the plug on. Okay, so that thread is coming out there now, so we'll bring the lock nut down and we'll just lock that in. Now again, just for demonstration purposes, obviously that will be much longer, and that plug will be sitting at the bottom of the sleeve, and all we do is we start to tighten this nut against the top, and we're going to put a washer or something in there to help it slip, but essentially, as you can see, if I hold that straight, as I turn that, obviously it starts lifting, obviously, right? I think you all know how these things work, but there you go, that's the demonstration. And there we are, there's our puller. So there you go, that's the view from the side, and obviously all the way around. And as you can see, as I tighten this, it pulls the plug up, and hopefully with it, the sleeve. So that completes the build of the cylinder sleeve puller. The next video will be obviously us now using this in anger and beginning to remove the sleeves from the block. Obviously putting this to the test and see whether it A, whether it works, B, whether it's strong enough to pull those sleeves out. Everything on this tractor has been much tighter and much more difficult to remove than expected, so I'm not expecting these to be any different, but I am hoping that this thing has been made strong enough and well enough to be able to pull them out, even if it means we have to be a little bit firm with it. But I'm hoping that this thing will be strong enough to pull it out. So yeah, look forward to seeing you on the next video, and hope that you enjoyed these two short videos on making this puller. Thanks everybody, and see you next time. Cheers for now.